Cool. I hope we're set up. You you must make sure it's in the directory for where you have your IPython notebooks, or at least like at like a parent directory or something like that.
So go in, like cd into Kaggle underscore fa16, and then run that line.
Yeah. So what this does, if you're like Linuxy, it just takes the current directory pwd and then attaches it to home jovn work, which is the directory inside of the Docker container. Anybody else having problems setting up Git or anything like that? Because otherwise we'll continue. Okay.
All right. So I think.
Yeah. So wait, this won't work.
Oh yeah, the
Docker stop. All right, I think we're ready to go. Yeah, this should be good if everything's right.
All right, thanks. Hey Phil, could you also do me a favor and try to figure out how to like move that thing to the right a little bit?
Oh,
No, to this.
I know what we need to do.
Oh, perfect. Thanks.
So you already have. You did last time. You did not. Okay. So.
All right, cool. Hey, everyone. So I'm going to try to project loudly in front of the other instructors. Wait, what?
Oh,
Wait, what?
yeah, can you?
Oh.
So.
Cool. All right, so I'm just going to get started. So this is going to be intro to Python. More specifically, intro to Matplotlib and NumPy. And basically, I'm going to introduce you to 2 out of the 3, actually 4 main tools that you're going to be using in the course. So Matplotlib and NumPy are 2 specific packages where you can do lots of plotting and also just basic like computational stuff with it. Everything is basically in this notebook, so feel free to like read the intro notes on why Python 3 is really good and you should always do it, or convert from Python 2 to Python 3. But basically, we're just going to get started on all the setup stuff that you need to know in order to start coding. So the very first thing that you should note is import NumPy. So this line basically imports the library into the notebook and also gives a nickname for it, so NP. So the reason why we have this NP here is because sometimes libraries get very long, and that's why nicknames can help us shorten it down to reduce the amount of typing we need to do. So that's basically it. If you do shift enter, it will import it for you. Now let's see. Now we import the matplotlib library, and this is an example why a nickname is really helpful. We're just going to summarize it as PLT. Cool. So very simple, nothing too complicated. Next, we'll go over the Linspace function. So this is just an example of what NumPy has in its library. So NumPy has a method called Linspace, which gives like evenly spaced numbers from a starting point to an ending point, and then for the third argument, in this case 200, it gives you tell it how many points you want it to output. So x equals np.linspace will generate 200 numbers from 0 to 2 times pi for you. And then y equals np.signx, signx being the method that np has again. We will get like x values and y values that we can plot with. So the plotting function comes from plt, which from the library above, matplotlib, is the library that plots the stuff for you. And plt.plot x and y, and then plt.show will give you the nice looking graph that we have over here. Also, I don't know, let's see. I think this is unnecessary as well. Yeah, it's unnecessary. So you don't actually need plt.show. the show is only for showing the plot that it just generated. If you were not using this magic command way up here that I actually forgot to mention. So this is a magic command that basically allows you to plot stuff in line. So you don't need to do the plt.show default that you usually would use if you were just using IPython, for example, and trying to plot stuff on your terminal. So anyways, plt.plot, very simple, nothing too complicated about that. And so those were basically two very simple functions that come out of the plotting function and the NumPy function, plotting library and the NumPy library. Yes?
Yeah, so now that we are removing the show because of the inline at the top,
yes.
if we were to write another line of plt.plot, would like it automatically a new plot, or would it plot it on top of it?
It'll replace the plot. So there's another thing. If you want to plot it like side by side, then you need to create subplots. And
you can plot it on the same plot on top of it. Like if you would have used.
Yeah. So if you're talking about like different lines, right, on top of each other. Yeah. So actually, if you did like plt.plot, I don't know, x, y, z equals to red. The red line actually plots on top of the blue line. But if you did like other things too, I don't know. I don't know. But basically, like you just plot on top if you stack them on top of each other. But if you just like just ran this line, it would just be the red graph.
I'm just a little bit confused about like now that you remove show. Like you're saying the second line would plot on top of it, right?
Yep.
What if, since you're not doing show anymore, you want to do a separate plot? Would you write show and then plot again? Like say you want one, you display the wrong code shows, you close it, and then another one comes up.
For like underneath or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah. So in that case, you just need to run a different cell. And so each of these, if you type escape and then type B, you can generate a different cell in the, below it. And then if you do like plt.plot, I don't know, x and y without the fancy colors, then you can't get it right beneath it. Yeah, good question. All right, any other questions? Cool. All right, so now I'm going to introduce the for loops. For loops, if you don't know what they are, is basically looping over each element of some kind of list or iterable, and you can do special stuff with each element. So what I'm doing here is basically for each number inside this range function, which is basically generating a generator that goes from 0 to 9, print out each number. So what it does is goes from 0, so each number, it grabs each number in the list and then prints out each one. So it goes from 0 to 9. Pretty simple. Nothing that complicated yet. All right. So that's a for loop. Next is the list. So in Python, you can create a list with just the brackets, and you can input each element inside, or it can be like a number or a character. In this case, it's characters. And you can index it using this kind of notation where 0 is technically the first element. Oops. There we go. Make sure to run each line, by the way, or else you'll get confused. So friend 0 will be the first element of the list. And this slicing notation basically means go from the very, very beginning all the way up to and not including the third index. So what this does, it takes 0, 1, and 2 as your elements that you want to spit out. And in this case, it spits out Joey, Rachel, and Phoebe, since those correspond to 0, 1, and 2 in the list. Any questions with that? All right. And you can also include this kind of syntax where there's 2 colons. So basically, we still have the start to end syntax from above, but the third argument is the step amount. So by default, the step amount for this one is just 1. For here, you can specify the step amount to be -1, which basically means take a step backwards. So it's just going to reverse the order of the list that we have above. Any questions for that? You can set the step size to 2, 3, etc. As long as it's like logically valid. Cool. All right, and then we can do a for loop again. oh, sorry, I didn't place this correctly. So this is another example of for loop where we can grab each person in friends and stack the name of each friend to this string called I love my friend, and does the for loop repeatedly for that. So very simple, nothing too complicated. And then you can simplify a for loop by doing something called list comprehension. Basically, the syntax is for this person in friends, that goes at the very end, and then whatever function or thing you want to do with it, that goes at the very beginning. And it does this exact same thing as before, but in a one-liner syntax. So usually this way is much cleaner, but you can always start with this the less simple way to start off with if it's too annoying. All right, cool. Any questions with that? I know I went by a little bit fast, but basically, just to summarize, it's just a for loop, how that works, and how to access the lists.
Can you go back up to the first for loop example just really quickly?
Yeah. This
the
one.
one with the numbers.
This one? This one? Okay, cool. Yeah. And range, again, just generates a list of numbers for you from 0 to up to 9 in this case. All right. So I'm going to talk about arrays now. Arrays, you can, so when I think of arrays, I think of like matrices, just 2D matrices immediately, but arrays can generalize into any dimensional format. So for these kinds of guys, you can input like a bunch of different numbers, not just in a list format, but in like tabular format, which can be very useful when you're solving different things. So in order to create an array, you can create an array by converting from a list to, or sorry, a vector or a list into an array. So this cell, let me just run it. Yeah, so this cell will get you like 1, 2, 3 as the vector. Wait, hold on. No, is that how it outputs for an array? I'm not sure. All right, so anyways, so if you want to just convert a vector into an array, you just do mp.asArray. For this function, mp.zeros, basically you're just going to initialize your array that is 3 by 3 dimensions for this particular matrix. And it will look like this, essentially. And this is particularly useful when you want to initialize something and you want to like input elements when you use a for loop, for example. And so that's why it exists. Yeah.
Can you pass in a list into the zeros function also, or can you only pass in tuples?
For this guy, I think it's just tuples. I don't think lists works. Oh yeah, that's a good thing to, or maybe it does work. Okay, but anyways, that's a good thing to mention. For the dimensions, when you write out the function, you want a tuple inside. That's strange. I thought this didn't work. But anyways, you want like basically a tuple inside that puts the dimensions of your matrix that you want. So you can create a 3 by 3 element by doing that, and it creates a 3 by 3 matrix for you. All right, cool. All right, next thing that I want to talk about is this @ symbol. So the reason why Python, specifically Python 3.5 is pretty useful is that previously when you want to do something called a dot matrix multiplication, you need something like this. You need to call like mp dot, which is it can get pretty ugly very fast if you have a bunch of matrix stuff going on. So what the guys who made 3.5 did was they created this syntactic sugar symbol called the @ symbol, and it basically is what you do to multiply matrices together now. And it's very, very easy and simple to read. So yeah, so for this line, we just multiply the vector from above, 1, 2, 3, with the second vector by itself. So we're just doing the dot product with itself, and we get a dot product of 14. So that's 1 times 1, which is 1, 2 times 2, 4, and 3 times 3, 9, and then you sum everything up. We can do the same thing with a matrix times a vector. And that basically does the multiplication between a matrix and a vector. In this case, it's all going to be 0 because we initially initialized the array to be all zeros. Cool. Any questions so far? Yeah. Oh yeah. So what this does, it prints out each object each variable that we created. So in this case, this line vector, this weird string format basically says put this thing, this vector, inside this little like curly bracket location, and basically it prints out the string, this vector, along with what it contains. So it's a way of formatting or in this case, I'm just using the word format. It's a way of inserting stuff from your variables into the string to make it look like this way. But yeah, good question. Oh yeah, and also we'll talk about regular expressions a bit later, specifically next Thursday. Basically, we'll talk about like what these lines mean. Like this means new line, so which is why like for this it prints out matrix, and then it starts the text on the next line. In which case, it shows you the matrix afterwards. So this is the symbol to tell it to go to a new line. But that'll come a bit later. Cool. Any other questions? All right. And then yeah. So lists are just one-dimensional, and then arrays you can get multiple dimensions. So think of like when I think of arrays, I think of like a matrix first, which is one like this. You have columns and rows, whereas lists you just have list elements as a single dimension.
NumPy arrays also have I don't know if this, I don't think you covered it, so I thought I'd mention it.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
For people who know like Python syntax already, NumPy arrays also have a lot of different functionalities. I mean, as an absolute basic one, for instance, if you have a NumPy array with 10 numbers in it, and you do that array times 2, it'll give you a new array with all those numbers doubled. So you can apply mathematic functions across an array. You can do like dot products between two arrays automatically. I mean, basically they're a form of data structure that's optimized for doing math with them, if that makes sense. And like also can be these multi-dimensional structures as well. But obviously, Python lists, you can't do a dot product automatically with it or multiply it by a number to just double all the elements or something. So that's sort of a big difference with NumPy arrays, is they're very extensible with like math operations. And that's sort of why we use them.
Yeah, and this is where this comes from. Cool, thanks for that. Any other questions? All right, cool. So real quickly, so if you want to get the dimensions of your array, you can just call dot shape next to it. So for a vector, it'll be 3, and then this means like it's not a dimension. For this matrix, it's going to be 2D array, which is why you see 2 columns over here, or two positions over here, 3 by 3. Cool. All right, and yeah, that's it. Any questions with the notebook so far? This is just to show you guys like what it can do. The next thing that you guys want to do is go inside pset1. So we created like a quick Python notebook with problems for you guys, so you can like practice on random array juggling functions. So pset1 has, I think, 5 questions.
I didn't have the opportunity to have the
Okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. Yeah, so this is something you can do basically right now, and you can start working on it. And if you have any questions, like we'll be there for you to help you out with the problems.
Can you set up a pre-setting?
Yeah, I just posted the entry code details, and I'm like trying to put everyone in.
Okay, cool.
So
Is there an
Alright.
assignment for this one possibly?
yeah, I'll create one right now.
Oh yeah. Okay. So at the very bottom, we give instructions on how to submit this. So we're currently using Gradescope for submitting assignments, and you're not going to be graded on this. This is just like a test mechanism so that we can figure out any holes once the actual class starts. So go on Gradescope if you haven't already, and once you finish this assignment, what you want to do is go to File, Download As. And then there should be a PDF option right over here where you can generate the PDF of your notebook. And then when
do you
you
want to do that? See how it looks.
Oh yeah, sure. So
Oh, is that what you need?
Yeah, you need to have, when you add people, you need to have an email.
yeah, so it basically looked like this. Really nice PDF format and stuff like that. So you just submit this. Whoops. You just submit this onto Gradescope once the assignment is created, and that's all you need to do.
All right. I'm gonna create the assignment real quick.
All right, cool. You can blink the screen.
Can you answer? What kind of questions do you have? Is it? Okay, sure, yeah. Yeah, sure. I have like one button to press before the homework's released, so I'll just do that. Cool. You got it?
Well, fine. They're not going to be on the piece of soup. Like, we're not talking about undefined functions.
I honestly,
I'm just talking about the stack and everything. Yeah, that almost. Using the name sum in that function, which means it's going to forget the name up there. So just call that variable. That means, yeah, right? Because if you call that sum, how's it going to calculate the difference between that variable versus that function? So just call it.
yeah, I feel it's zero to five.
Series. And then you can just do.
You mean we can make x with y?
Yeah.
Right multiply. It's possible that your multiply with
and then we put those together.
and algebra is
This is a reserved keyword. So
or
actually, I'll try to that series.
x dot period.
This is like
1 to 3, like,
so
Dot
plus
right?
that doesn't make sense.
functions on there.
1 to
Group dot
and you don't need to worry about like
Actually,
yeah. No problem.
yeah, there is a built-in sum function.
Yeah.
But there is no built-in average function, so you could create an average nothing.
Actually, did you get your question answered?
Okay, so this, basically, this one number is
so
when I said we're doing some
Yeah, can you give me just a moment? I need to finish adding some rights go.
Are you?
And then I'm going to talk to you.
Do cancel. Probably that means you already have it. Scroll down.
and basically you start instead of running and usually
Do you know what this looks like? Well, do you know what this is? Where this is in Word?
yes, it's one thing. So can you
Let's see. Let's go to your. Let's go to your file. You just had. You know where. Is it downloads? Okay, let's go to downloads. What do you use Bigger?
so
Wait. So have you had experience with Docker? Yeah, Docker's pretty cool. It's very similar to Jekyll. You can do like a bunch of other stuff. Like a bunch of people. Whoa.
later on
So you download.
the only thing that will require
You downloaded it?
data restoration visual stuff that we find
What do you do?
and that's just for us so that we can
Oh, no. I
visuals.
think because
But
go
when
into
you
there.
actually code into just use that.
Command X.
Yeah, that's because usually
I'm not sure what this is.
and so and we can a bunch of other
It's so weird. If you did the preset.
right.
Is this downloads?
This is more quote data science harder to get, so I'm just applying for general
Can you do command?
It doesn't seem like it given the first thing it said, but I'm still trying out things.
I've been
See,
rejected
then there's another one.
because they want people like
What do you want to do?
for data science stuff generally.
So it has like .txt, sometimes that happens.
Actually,
Yeah, so
this is now running for data science. So you
Make
can
sure you check your name. Oh, alright. Yeah, delete the first one. Make sure you don't delete the other one. Yeah, press that trash.
No one is. That's I'm about to add it.
Yeah, you would want it directly, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, yeah, just go up. There's a trash button. Right there, yeah.
Is there more
Then
crash
yeah,
courses?
do the rename thing and it should work.
Ooh, is there more crash course today or is that?
This is I think we're gonna have a like an introduction to what the first homework's gonna be. So stick around for that for like a little bit longer. But then yeah, we'll keep pushing after that. Wait, hold up. Somebody else had a question.
Wait, so step one.
What's your name, by the way?
No.
Jolene. Don't log in. And you didn't do Jupyter.
Okay, where did you find your space?
It's on that grade. Okay, so that means that you're not actually.
It's the name of the first assignment. Yeah.
Oh, do you have it?
Oh yeah, it just deployed at 7 o'clock, didn't it? Cool. I was like, I set it up so you guys wouldn't be able to see it, but I guess it just opened. Wait, are you on the grade scope now?
Yeah. You just like copied it.
How? Did you add it yourself? Yeah, you must have. Because I'm about to add everyone like programmatically. You can find it on Piazza. But I'm about to add everyone anyway, so you'll probably be added right now. If not, you can find it on Piazza. You do have to create an account, yeah.
So you won't be able to see any of your files.
Yeah, you're right.
However, if you run
Yes.
so
2 years ago. Yeah, 60 students had it in the course. Alright.
So you can do this in the four ways.
That's my super question. So basically, the way Python works, and you'll cover this once in market diagrams, you see like just yes, those. Everything has attributes, right? When you run the function, you get a subset behind those. Basically, frame. So there's frames inside frames, and when you run a function, you create a new frame, and it remembers stuff from the previous frame. So yeah, you can refer inside the frame and create layer to the Have you talked about recursion all in class?
Yeah, we just covered that today.
So
Recursion is everyone's favorite concept among like teachers. So like when John De Niro interviews people for teaching CS61A, like 2/3 of the people want to do their like practice lecturing on recursion. So
basically we guess that this, when I say return sum of series, it remembers this function.
yeah, it remembers the
takes
name of the
the
function.
sum.
So that's in the global frame, and then that's in the frame that you're creating there.
So it takes the sum of whatever I put in for average of range. Like, it does it there, and then it divides it by whatever the length is. And then
Wait, hold on, say that again? You might have.
I was saying, so get sum of series, so it's taking
It remembers what sum was, yeah,
remembers
and
what
it takes,
argument sum was, but it's taking the argument that I put in for average.
and it takes that, puts it into series, and puts it series later. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you know,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Because it's the same thing.
A good thing to think about would be what the environment diagram of that looks like. There'll be probably, I mean, that's not quite test level, but it's certainly like got a few different frames in there. So think about taking a picture of that. What it would look like.
I'll try to start thinking about that.
I mean, it'll help you with your 88 midterm.
Yeah, so I've heard.
But let's say you don't have a
So that's the thing. Actually, not all of the tools that you already have. I don't know why. I have to do with I don't know how yeah, so usually
Oh, wait.
No, it's just not
Oh, so you're right. Well, then,
yeah, if you
just downloaded something.
So, once you have the file system to the Kaggle decal
like you all that
Anybody?
you have to okay, yeah, you just look at those. I didn't know exactly. No worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can figure out rid of that.
You don't remember the Subplots actually. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I found one. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Are we gonna have any pre-meeting thing or?
we should. Yeah.
I'll turn off the
We should do a Google Hangout like we did yesterday.
I actually want to chat with you about like what you think is legal in the boundaries of poker competition. I'm curious what you think.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, yeah, you just get such a weird like concept. You know how to do it perfectly, but you can't.
Okay, yeah, we'll have that chat.
Alright, yeah.
Actually, in kernel, press kernel and here's the menu. Do interrupt.
Does anybody have
And just run that stuff.
Right now.
You can try removing this x from the plt.plot because the plt.plot is just going to infer what the x is. It's pretty simple. Yeah, try that. Why don't you do this? Kernel restart. Sometimes this will happen. And then I go to the very top and you open it. Just run it. Oh, do a plt show then somewhere under the you want to probably do it after testing accuracy.
Yeah, we'll just update. But like before, like we're not rating it.
Just to see exactly what's changed.
Alright, so just a brief announcement. There's actually another assignment-ish in the homework folder that I thought I did not push, but I apparently did. So consider that as like extra practice for NumPy stuff. It's also, I personally think it's interesting too because it uses Pokemon Go data. So once you're finished with the first one, like if you really want more practice, then you can go on to the second one. But like I said with the previous assignment, it's not really graded or anything since we're in the optional bootcamp. But try to like put some effort in it because it's only going to help you learn how to code. So, any questions? All right, cool. Yeah.
I'm not sure what we're supposed to do for this one. I'm guessing we're supposed to do a plot with 2 lines of it.
All right, let's see. Let's see what's on PLT. So, was there a PLT? Let's just grab this.